Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. After a 2-day hiatus, I'm feeling pretty good to be back on the air with you guys and talk some Bigfoot with one of my favorites. Chris Reinhardt is here tonight. We are going to get into it big time with him. But first, let us say hello to each and every one of you. Shall we? Shall we? Let's. We have T-Bone in the gold medal position. Paramarv with the silver, Amy Allo with a bronze medal tonight. Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth when you're talking Bigfoot. So Mel, thank you for the lube. Don't forget to give yourself a little shot as well. We'd greatly appreciate it. Kitty Cattywhack, how are you? And thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much. Scrolling on down, we say hello next to Race Fan and Kitty with a second super chat. Thank you very, very much. Michael Morris, the attorney at large. How are you? Lisa Smith, Frankie B, Road Flare, and Missouri Man is here. Missouri Man will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Trucker Andrew and Crystal Cat, how are you tonight? Thank you for joining us. Mama Catherine, there she is. Mwah. I love you, my dear. I hope you had a great day. I hope you're going to have a great weekend. I love you, and we will have a good show for you tonight, just for you tonight, okay? Let's have some fun. Mama Catherine, she is the best. Mickey G, how are you tonight? Thank you for joining us. Deanna Ann, looking lovely and talented tonight. Very, very nice to have you here. Scrolling on down, we have the lovely and talented Kathy Evans as well. Werewolf, how are you? Stephanie Kenny Blankenship, nice to see you. As we continue on with our roll call, I am Varex. Welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell if you wouldn't mind. And who is next on our list? Well, it's Caitlin and Townsend, everybody. Caitlin, welcome to SOR Chat. Shane Gord, nice to see you. Undead Jed, good to have you here. Robert Lamoth and Brandon Hallberg, welcome to SOR Chat. As we scroll on down. And next we say hello to Brent Van Horn, or Brent Von Hohen, sorry. Welcome to SOR Chat. Forrest Louie is here, kicking off. What a nice super chat. Thank you, Forrest Louie. I appreciate you. Thank you. That's nice. Very, very nice. See you tomorrow. Get better, buddy. Jerence Carter. Jerence Carter. J Truth, how you doing, buddy? Nice to have you here as we are continuing with our roll call. Up next, we got to find somebody to sign autographs. Melissa Kronwetter is here. Melissa will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Beelzebrad has a devil put aside for me. Thank you for coming on in tonight, Beelzebrad. Appreciate you. Dr. Bob, Fap Nuts, and Undead Jed. Nice to have you all here. T-Bone, my man, thank you for that wonderful super chat. Greatly appreciate. Let's see. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Sorry, I'm caught a little off guard right now. Let's get the radio side going. T-Bone, you're the man. You're the man. Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we have a great show. We're going to get into some Bigfoot research from skeptic to believer. Chris Reinhardt is here to break it all down for us and his great investigations in the beautiful East Coast of the United States. We are in roll call on our YouTube side right now as we say hello to Cowie. How you doing, my friend? Nice to see you here. And we are caught up on our roll call just like that. Super Chat is open. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Be like Kitty, be like Louie, be like T-Bone. You can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You can go check it on out. I promise you, you'll want to wear it in public because it's not ugly. Digger Dog, how you doing tonight? Happy Friday to you, my friend, as we get ready for some Bigfoot talk on this great show. It's going to be fun. I want you to throw those horns up. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears to what's the little cabin in the woods. We're together, my friends. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Go to cariboucon.com. That's cariboucon.com for British Columbia's only paranormal conference, September 18th through 20th. We want to see you up here. We are getting into Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Dogman research, one of the best in the biz. Chris Reinhardt is here to tell us about his theories, his stories, and his investigations. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off with another great story. We're going to follow that up with Lee Strauss, the extra small one, coming on in for the cryptid Q&A. So it's going to be an amazing amount of fun tonight. So let's hop right into it right now. Chris Reinhardt is a dedicated Bigfoot researcher and outdoorsman who has spent years exploring remote wilderness areas in search of answers to one of North America's greatest mysteries. With a passion for the outdoors and a deep respect for nature, Chris combines field experience, tracking knowledge, and eyewitness investigation to better understand Sasquatch behavior. His time spent in the wild, often in rugged, isolated terrain, has helped him gather valuable insight into patterns, habitats, and encounters supported and reported by witnesses. Known for his practical approach, Chris focuses on boots-on-the-ground research, documenting evidence, and listening closely to those who have had those first-hand encounters. Chris Reinhardt, my friend, it is always good to have you back on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing?
Great, Dave. Thanks for having me. It's glad to be back. It's always a great time here on Spaced Out Radio, and I'm glad to be here.
How much fun is it to call yourself a monster hunter?
I don't know. I never really thought about, being, chasing monsters. You tell people about it, and they really, they're myths, and I don't believe that they're a monster, but it's more of a public grab when you're out there, explaining to people that they kind of fit in that class. But I go by Real Monster Hunter on other outlets like TikTok and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty cool, that we do what we do, like yourself. You're out there in the forest and you're chasing these guys too, and chasing whatever it is that's out there. And I think it's pretty cool chasing. I guess chasing monsters in the forest is a cool thing to do. I guess it keeps me out of trouble, and I've enjoyed it for the last 10 years.
Well, I got to tell you something. Every night I do a radio hit, what we call a hit in radio, which is about 15 minutes on WPHT in Philadelphia. It's the 5th largest market in the United States. And I was on with host Gary Arnell right before this show. And apparently he received an email from some dude who was telling him that I should not be on the air because I have delusional thoughts of imaginary legends and folklore that don't exist, and that I should probably get some help for believing in these subjects. This is what we have to deal with from the skeptical crowd at times. And so Gary asked me, he's like, well, what do you think of a comment like that? I said, well, number one, I know the guy has never looked into this, because if he had, he wouldn't be saying that. Number two, I said, I'm not even mad. I said, I really feel like just sending the guy an autograph poster. That way he can look at me throwing him a kiss right there on his wall. Mwah, each and every night. How do you deal with the people who say, man, you chase monsters? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Shouldn't you grow up and, start practicing your bingo numbers or something?
Right. To tell you the truth, Dave, I don't really get that from the folks that I'm around. And like in my own town, I got a big support circle. I get that mostly from people that are in the field, because I believe in a different way of thinking. I go by a different way of investigating. And that's just my opinion. I am not the Bigfoot guru. I do not know what's going on out there. I couldn't tell you what I think is true or not, but that's just my opinion. And I get more slack coming from folks that are in the field than outside the field. I got actually more support. But actually, that guy that says that about you, he knows who you are. He's obviously listening to you. And then obviously he can't gather his own thoughts together to, put one and one together and said, hey, maybe this stuff is real. There's more than one interaction. There's more than petty. And there's more than, Sasquatch in the forest, and there's things in the sky, and there's things that go through walls, and there's so much out there. So you leave your mark in certain ways, and I'm like you, I'm past that point of caring anymore. I don't let it get to me. I just move on, and I got some serious backlash, but you know what? I don't do this. I travel all over the place on my own dime. I don't use anybody else's money but my own. And if I'm out there hoaxing, why am I paying $3,000 to take a trip to Snell Grove 2 years in a row to sit up in the middle of nowhere for weeks upon, and 2 weeks with nothing around you? If I'm up there hoaxing stuff, and I just, whatever, I'm just done with it. I just done with it. I don't even try to prove it anymore. I don't even want to. Evidence is a nothing burger to me anymore. It's just, I just want to interact and show people that you can interact. So that's all I got.
What was your point of no return for caring?
When people have an opinion about you and people listen to them and they never come and ask you, and you're never there to defend yourself. But you hear about it from all your buddies. Oh, this guy's talking about you again, and oh my God, he's saying. And I said, well, isn't it funny that nobody ever invites me on the same show so I can defend myself and I can show the videos and I can tell them what really happened out there, and that's where I did, let them do it. If they want to believe them, let them believe them. They want to listen to them, let them listen to them. I'm still going to do my own thing, and I'm not going to stop. I just going to continue on my path and enjoy what I'm finding out and experiencing, because I feel bad for them, because there are certain people out there that can experience this stuff over and over again, and there's a reason for it, and we all have our own opinions for it, but they don't experience anything. It's the same thing. They're looking for footprints and knocking on trees, and they're badgering everybody else for doing different things, and to each their own, and that's where I'm at. You do your thing, I'll do my thing, but I'm still not going to go on live interviews and badmouth you for what you believe and what you're doing. It's just not me.
Do you think most people who do not believe in what we do are hiding some sort of fear? Maybe it's religion, maybe it's just nightmares, maybe they watched Jaws as a kid like myself, and to this day I will not go in the ocean. Okay. Do you think it's fear? Do you think that's why they take it out on people like us?
I think it's fear, and I think that it could be a little bit of jealousy that you're experiencing these things, and they never even thought in a million times they were out in the forest that this stuff could actually happen. My wife will no longer go in the forest. She will no longer go in the forest for all the stuff that's happened here and around here. And she's been with me in the forest a few times with stuff going on, and she will no longer enter the forest. So she knows that they're out there, but she supports me. She still doesn't understand why the people knock, like, again, like folks like you and me and others out there. She doesn't understand why they knock them. She's like, why don't they just leave you alone? Why are they bothering with you guys? Why don't because this is where you guys never get any answers, because nobody ever will work together. Everybody wants to be the king. They want to be the one that discovers this, and it's their opinion, and that's the only way it is. And she says she feels sorry for them. She goes, she really does. She's just that kind of a person. But it's real, and the phenomena is real, and I think it's linked with other phenomena. It's all together. I think that Bigfoot, I'll say it flat out, I think Bigfoot is a space monkey. That's an interdimensional space monkey. I think we live on two parallels, and at certain points, at certain times, they cross. And you can either, when you cross it, you could either use it as a learning experience and take advantage of it, or most people see it as a collision. So two things are colliding and they're scared of it, and they had their interaction, and then that's all there is to it. But that's what I believe, and that's where the evidence has drawn me. Do I have proof of that? Have I seen a Bigfoot have come out of a UFO? No, I've never seen anything like that. But I've had a lot of other things that have led me to believe this. Are they flesh and blood? 100%. I've seen them. You know what I mean? They're here. They're hunting. I know they hunt. I know they leave footprints. I know and they throw things, but spirits also throw things. Ghosts, they throw things at you. You're in a haunted house, you'll have things thrown at you. They can make crazy noises also. So without seeing what's doing it, you really cannot say which way, what's going on out there. And that's where the point I'm in. I'm trying to figure out what the deal is, what's really going on. Is it more spirit activity? Is it these guys? Or, you know what I mean? That's what we're trying to do. I don't know if I went off topic a little bit, but
no, I think you actually led us down a really good path here, because I was going to follow that up. Like, when I first met you, you were Mr. Flesh and Blood. This is a humanoid, or not a humanoid, but a creature of Earth. There's no woo to it. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't vanish. It doesn't play tricks. It's not an alien. It is complete flesh and blood. And you've really, over the years, opened up your eyes to the mystery of the Sasquatch, and you've changed your tune. What gave you that change?
I had an experience in the Florida Green Swamp with Chris Connor from the Trail to Bigfoot. We had paranormal stuff go on. We had something. We were out looking for Sasquatch. We had stuff thrown at us, but we had this phone incident that changed my mind with everything. I'll have to make a long story short. We were in the Green Swamp, and he took me to a place where he said that he could ask for knocks. He called it Knox Creek. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. We'll film it. So he's out there. So Chris doesn't think I'm joking around. Can you give us a knock? Well, 20 seconds later, he gets a knock. And I'm just like, my jaw's just like, wow, that's pretty cool. I've never seen that before. Then all of a sudden, something's rifling through his phone. His phone's going crazy. It's trying to get into his bank account, trying to get, he's tapping into his phone. And he's like, look at this. Something's going on with my phone. He goes, how about your phone? And I just got my phone like 2 weeks prior or a week prior, and there's only like 3 people who have the number. And I look at the phone and I'm like, no, it's not doing nothing. But there's text messages and there's 4 initials on it for like 21 lines. And it's MBBC over and over again. MBBC, 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 21 lines. So we erased everything but 11, and we photographed those last 11 lines. And we can't figure out what it was. So we know it's a butt dial. So it was in my pocket. You figure it was a butt dial. So I got back to the house, took a shower, got out of the shower, looked at my phone, tried to call my wife. And all of a sudden, guess what's back on my phone? MBBC. But now there's exclamation points, there's parentheses, there's dots, there's capital letters. So I go out to Chris and I show Chris. I said, Chris, it's back. Look at the message is back. Something's typing. I'm typing out to somebody. It's not me, not coming to me. I'm typing out, and I'm not typing this out to anybody. And we still can't figure out, is it Morse code? What's going on? Does, la, 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 la. He calls his wife over and he says, hey, Beata, check this out. What is this? Can you figure this out? She goes, I know exactly what that is. And both of our jaws dropped because we were trying to figure out all afternoon. She goes, Mark, Betty, Beata, and Chris, the 4 initials of the first 4 initials of all the names of the people that have been in the Green Swamp for the last 10 years looking for the Sasquatch. On my phone, typed out. And that's when it all changed for me. After that, things just got really strange. I mean, Chris and his sister and him, we started having activity at our homes at the same time. And we had psychics come and say that we walked across something and we're linked, and there's something going on, and we didn't know we were supposed to be there, and we walked across this area and stuff like that. And things just progressed over those years, and it got strange. It became hand in hand. And 2 weeks later, up here in Connecticut, I had a guy come from Massachusetts, and I've had witnesses to all of this. And we're walking up to my area, and he looks at his phone and he goes, my phone's going crazy. It's rifling, just like Chris's phone was rifling, and all of a sudden started playing YouTube videos. Just out of the blue, walking up the hill, YouTube videos. We get to the top of the hill, same circumstance. All of a sudden, we play this 40 hertz hum, and all of a sudden, just like in Florida, the rocks start coming in, and the rocks are being thrown at us, and the phone thing, and everything just happened again 2 weeks later, 1,100 miles apart. That's what changed it all for me. That's when I'm like, this is not a coincidence. And again, we had 5 people here in Connecticut that witnessed it all that day. And then down in Florida, we had 4 of us to witness it down there. So that's what changed it for me.
No kidding. When you look at something like that happening and your phone is being stalked, okay, how do you know it's not somebody playing a trick on you? Somebody who knows you're out there, who is saying, I'm going to mess with Chris a little bit here.
Right. Well, again, on the circumstance in Florida is that I just had that phone 2 weeks prior, and nobody had it but my wife, Chris, and another guy named Tim that lived in Florida. And those are only 3 people on earth that had my phone number. And it wasn't any of them that were playing a joke with me. So what was rifling through Chris's? How did they know me and Chris were together? You know what I mean? And how do they know Chris's number? And how do they know my new number? And how are they shuffling? And how do they know 2 weeks later that the guy from Massachusetts is going to be with me on this day and going up the mountain and then playing with his phone? It's just something going on. Something's attached, or something knows, or I don't know what tries to get into people's phones, but it was very strange. And after all that, we started getting EVPs like crazy. After everything after the Green Swamp, it all changed. EVPs while we were out. The girls in my team heard a pig grunt one day. They're walking. Oh my God, Chris, we just heard pig grunts. The 2 of them, and they have recorders. We always have recorders going on our backpacks. And I'm like, oh, cool, right. We got pig grunts. They're supposed to, they've been heard to do pig grunts. So we time stamped it. I got it home. I got it down here. I put it in my computer. I put it on. And it's 2 guys saying hello to each other. It's no pig grunts. You hear one guy go, hello. And then another guy goes, hello. And then you hear the girls go, did you hear that? they heard a pig grunt, but the recorders picked up hellos. I have that on recording. I don't know where that is. I would have to dig it out for you, but I have that. They started mimicking us. They started repeating, and whatever it was, we started picking up these EVPs. And after that, we had the stones coming in, and then we would say something, and then something would repeat what we said. It was getting pretty crazy out there. So,
did it make you feel unsafe?
I have never ever felt unsafe until I had to have my house blessed. When my this was after the Green Swamp, and after this went on for a little while, my grandchildren were living with me, and they started repeating that they were seeing monsters in the corners of the house. We see monsters, little ones, and I went and I woke up one morning and I had 3 scratches on the inner side of my left arm. And I went up to my friend Al Santariga's house for his birthday party, his 50th or 60th birthday party, I don't remember. And I told him everything that was going on. He's like, you got to have a priest come to your house. You have to have it blessed. So he set it all up for me. And I guess I wasn't as scared because nothing, the scratches were okay. Okay, got the scratches, but the kids, that's what scared me the most. I don't want that around my grandchildren. I don't want nothing happening to them. So the priest came and they told me what was going on. They said there was a Native American presence here, and they blessed the house, and they buried stuff out in the yard, and they did the whole thing. And after they left, my wife walked up to me. She goes, I can't really tell you how I feel this, but she's like, I feel the house is way lighter than it ever felt in months. And I'm sitting down in my office where I am right now. I got the goosebumps. My hair standing straight up. And I'm talking on the phone. I called Al to thank him. I'm like, well, thank you so much for, setting this up for me. I really appreciate it. That helps me, that helped a lot. I told him what Maria said. And my cat comes in my room and jumps up on my lap. Now, everybody, you wouldn't think of anything like that being a big deal. My cat had never come into my office, ever, until that day. It would sit outside this door and meow and meow and meow, and it would never enter this office. And after the priest left, it hopped up on my lap, and for the first time came in this room. So that was the time that I felt, out of control. So a little scared. I was scared for my grandchildren for sure. Not for me, not as much, but definitely for my grandchildren.
We got about 1:30 before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Chris Reinhardt, Real American Monsters, is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio. You talk a lot about Bigfoot. What's your love outside of Bigfoot? What cryptid is your love?
I'm really into the ghost thing now. I'm really into the spirit thing. I've gone out and I bought a lot of equipment to try and test it out this year, and because we're getting EVPs and we're seeing stuff. I've seen full apparitions in my home. I think that's my next step. I think that's the next path I'm going after. I don't know if that's classified as a cryptid, but
that works, man.
I think they're one thing: space monkey, interdimensional ghost thing. I think it's all linked somehow, and that's what I'm going to try and figure out for myself.
Talk about that. Why do you think it's all linked? Because I believe you. That I think that too.
It just makes sense because you're out in the forest, you're getting the EVPs, you're coming home, there's stuff attached to you, and you're out, and it just makes sense. And again, I say Bigfoot is flesh and blood. I know we're almost at break. But they also, if they were an animal, or we would have one in a zoo. Come on, we would eventually, at some point in all these years, we would have put one in a zoo if they were an animal. They're not the hide and seek champions of the world. When you're 8 feet tall, 600 pounds, you're just not hiding. And most of the interactions are run-bys and drive-bys in front of your car, down the path, except for the people that have them living on their property, and then they see them, but where are they living? Where are they staying? Where are they coming from?
And we'll talk about that and more. Chris Reinhardt, Real American Monsters. Check it on out. Make sure you hit subscribe on all of his social medias, including YouTube. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, we are clear. So, no, I do not have to do Walter tonight. I had a conversation with Walter Sterling from the other side of midnight. You know what's really cool, people? Is his show on the latest ratings has over 1 million listeners a night. And I'm on with him anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to half an hour, 40 minutes, somewhere in between then. Being able to talk to 1 million people, dude, that's pretty cool. Oh, I got you on mute, Chris. Hold on. That's my fault.
That's all right. No, that's very cool.
1 million people. I just about crap myself. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, our numbers are over 1 million a night. Like, that is amazing.
That's some pretty good numbers.
Yeah. I'm like, damn. Glenn Hamlin, how you doing? Yes, be like Von Patrick, everybody. Come to Caribou Con. Watch Dave have his hair and beard shaved. There was nothing about the hair. It was the beard. Where does the hair come in on this now?
That's all right, Dave.
I can lend you some, my friend. I got plenty.
I'm good with it now. I've been shaving it for so long now. It's just second nature.
Little Scotty Blight, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, but you do pretty good for yourself every night too.
I can't say anything yet, but on that side of the broadcast, I think we're going to be expanding within the next few weeks again.
You put a lot of time into it, you know. It takes a lot of work to. People don't get it. It's a lot of work, even if you're just doing it once a week.
It's going to be cool.
Well, congratulations.
It's going to open us up to about 300,000 listeners.
That's what you want.
Yeah. Jeremy Jones, there might be something on that coming up too. Maybe. Trucker Andrew, I'm pissed that I'm not going to be able to hang out with you at Nebraska this year, man. Hard to believe we got to wait another year. That sucks. Candace Helfrich looking lovely tonight. We got about a minute 40.
She canceled Nebraska this year, huh?
No, the venue 6 weeks out started playing some major games. And it was just like they totally went against their contract. And there was just no way for them to pull it off. It would have been impossible. So I got to try and get you there.
I finally got new territory to go to. I finally got another habituation area after 6 years. I'm excited for this year.
Oh, dude. Good for you.
Yeah, 142 acres.
Private property or?
Yeah, private property and can camp.
Oh.
So.
Lucky you.
We'll see how it goes.
Is on what we call crown land. The king owns the land. And, but it's public land. And I can't wait to get there.
All right. You're going the same route as I'm going, right? You're starting to get into that the paranormal and you're going to that. What is that haunted? It was a haunted house, cottage, or what? What's
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Hold on,
so
we're coming back in 3 seconds here, my man. Hold on.
all right, all right.
Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We have a great show going on here from Real American Monsters. Chris Reinhardt got a tight goatee too, so he means business when he's out in the field looking for Sasquatch. Want to remind all of you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Chris Reinhardt. How you doing, my friend? Good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. Glad to be here, my friend. Glad to be here. I always love it here.
You mentioned during the break that you found what you call a new habituation for Sasquatch. What does that mean? And tell our audience about it.
So a new habituation area is an area where you can visit all the time, and you can become part of the area. You can go there all the time. You can habituate it. You can do what you do. I had one 6 years, over 6 years ago now. It was called Larry's, and I had gifting and trading going on for a number of years. And that's what we're going to try and get to do at this area. But the difference between this area and Larry's is that we're going to be able to camp there. We'll be able to do the night investigation. And I've made some investments this year. We bought Starlink to bring with us, so we'll be able to go live from inside there via the Starlink and stuff like that. And people can see what's going on if they're coming in and throwing stuff at us But the first thing is I got to establish an area. So at a habituation area, my tactic is to establish a pattern hike first. So we will go to this area and we will do the same routine. We will go in, we will do the same path, we will do the same walk. After we scout it first, we got to scout the area, come up with our path, and then we will visit this area 2 to 3 times a week, and we will walk this path, and we will stay on the path, and we will not veer from it. And that's my plan for a habituation area, is a pattern hike. And when we stay there, we will stay at the same spot. They'll know. And the reason for this is they know what you're doing. There's no surprise to whatever's out there. They know where you're going. They can come in behind you. They can come in front of you. They know where you're going to camp for the night. They know where you sit. They know where the trading spot is. They know where to leave stuff for you. And this way you also notice what they're doing. Whatever it is out there, whatever you believe is out there is doing, you'll notice that we've found trees balanced on tree roots that would just blow your mind. And we received rocks and raven feathers and knocks 20 feet in back of us. And we found a structure at Larry's one time that was a compass, and they were right in back of us while we were checking out, and we got that on film. You can see that on my channel also. So the habituation area is just an area that we can go to all the time and call it ours. There's nobody else in there except for us. And hopefully with these new techniques, the 40 hertz, which we figured out, brings these guys in. We're going to use frequencies and see if we can get the interactions to come in and quicker than normal.
What do you mean by the 40 hertz? How does that attract them?
So here at my house, we had activity at my hummingbird feeder. Every night for a week, Maria's hummingbird water was either being poured out or drank. and all the flowers, you know how the hummingbird feeders have little flowers on them, but they were all plucked off and thrown all over the place every morning, routine. And on the fourth day, she comes into the house and she goes, guess what? I'm like, hummingbird water's gone again. She's like, yep, but guess what? I'm like, what? She goes, all the flowers are gone. I want my flowers gone. Now, Maria's been around the block now. This isn't just brand new stuff to her. This is 8 years in. You go outside and you tell your friends, I want my flowers back. Because she is convinced in her mind that it's the Bigfoot. Convinced. Because I've had ripped off coyote legs left on my back door. She's been around with it. I said, okay, that's going to work, Maria. And this is me. You know, I'm a believer in all this. I'm saying, but I'll go out and I'll do it. So I go outside. I said, listen, guys, whatever's going on, Maria's mad. You took her flowers. She wants them back. And regardless that you're dumping her water or drinking it, she wants her flowers back. So the next day she comes in the house and she goes, you're never going to guess this. I'm like, what? She goes, the flowers are back and they're all piled in one nice little pile underneath the hummingbird feeder.
No way.
Yep. Now this is Maria experiencing. This has nothing to do with me. All underneath the hummingbird feeder. That night, I'm sitting in bed upstairs in my bedroom. The babies are in the bathroom. They're taking baths. They're with their mothers in there, and Maria's downstairs. And all of a sudden, my room starts shaking. Like shaking. And I get up. I thought it was the pipes going to burst. I thought the kids were in the bathroom. Something's going on with the pipes. I get up. I'm like, what's going on in the bathroom? What are you guys doing in the bathroom? Blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, Maria goes, it's not them in the bathroom. There is a blacked out helicopter hovering over our house. There was a blacked out helicopter over our house that same night when all those flowers were left. With underneath the hummingbird, look at my hair on my arms is straight up again. Hovering for 10, 15 minutes. And then it took off. Guess what stopped after that night? The
No
activity.
More
No more hummingbird water. No more hummingbird feeder. So I was talking to my friend MK Davis. I said, MK, I told him everything that happened about the hummingbird. He goes, well, Chris, guess what? I had the same thing happen down here. My hummingbird feeder was getting destroyed. Destroyed, he said, every night, destroyed. Flowers plucked off. He goes, I don't think that I don't think they like the hummingbirds. And I'm like, I don't think they like the hummingbirds. So I started thinking, they don't like the hummingbirds. So then I'm like the hummingbirds. So I dove into the hummingbirds. And the hummingbird baseline frequency when they're hovering right next to your ear is 40 hertz. Right? That is 40 hertz. So we started call blasting it. And we started getting them in. We got 3 of them in up at the top of Rock Throw Alley one time. And 3 of them came in. 3 of something came in after we call blasted, started throwing stones at us. There was 5 of us up there when that happened. Did it in the Florida swamp. We had a bluff charge down in the Florida swamp. We played it up at Snell Grove Lake. Now, up in Canada, we had a big, huge speaker, 40 hertz. We blasted it out to the lake. Now, there's nothing. If you know Snell Grove Lake, there is nothing for 500 square miles. There is nothing. You're in trouble. If something goes down, you're in trouble. All you got is those boats.
I live in an area like that.
Yeah. That night, we had an orb show up there like none other. Orbs out on the lake. Orbs around the cottage. This 40 hertz. So Doug Hychek went with us up to Snow Grove those 2 years in a row, and I told him about the 40 hertz. Well, he's like, well, you're not going to believe this. So he has a friend named David Ellis, and he's from the Olympic Project. He calls him up on the phone after I told Doug everything about what I experienced with it, and then he calls up Dave. He says, David, tell him about Tristan Yolton. So David tells me about Tristan Yolton. Tristan Yolton is a guy from Washington State who recorded the Bigfoot purr, they called it at the time. It was a jar of peanut butter that was left out at their gifting area, him and his mother, and there was a supposed Bigfoot there sitting there with his fingers eating the peanut butter, and while he was eating the peanut butter, it was humming, purring.
Really? I've never heard that.
Right. So, Chris, tell David your story. David, I tell David all my whole story, the 40 hertz. He goes, Chris, guess what frequency Tristan Yolton's Bigfoot purr was? 40 hertz. Boom. So we put it out there across America. Say, listen, go into your recordings, go to your deep dives and tell us if you've heard the hummingbird stuff, right? We're getting recordings from North Carolina, getting recordings from the Sierras. We're getting recordings from the Washington, all purring 40 hertz. David finds an article of a lady that lived up in Canada from 1928. Right? I believe that's the right date. I could be off. She's out doing her laundry. She's hanging the laundry. She hears a hummingbird, what she believes to be a hummingbird. This is in the paper. This is written in the paper. She turns around to see what the hummingbird's doing, and guess what's standing right in back of her?
Sasquatch.
Full out Sasquatch.
I believe that one was at Ruby Creek here in British Columbia.
Yeah. Crazy, right? So all this, you would never think of any to ever put a hummingbird hum into Bigfoot world, but it's there. It's a thing. It's proven. It's recorded. It's in the paper. It's in Canada from early 1900s, 1800s. I think it even might have been. So it's just that's what it takes for people to work together, and they would never a million years I thought I'd be working with Doug Hychek on anything. You know what I mean? But Doug's a great guy. He's a nice guy, and we get along well. And I have my opinion, and he has his opinion, and that doesn't matter. We have our own opinions, but we can still talk to each other and get along. You know what I mean? That's what it takes. And without that, we would have never have put the pieces together about the hummingbird. It was, here I had the activity. Tristan had the recording, and David heard the recordings, and then I did the research on everybody working together. It all gelled in, and it's actually a discovery in my book. So we're using it, and we're going to try and bring them into this new area with that 40 hertz frequency, because there's no Sasquatch activity on this property. There's no log of it. There's nobody ever had any interaction there. So that's what we're going to see what we can do.
I can totally see that. That's it's actually pretty incredible. How do you know when you're in a Sasquatch spot where there is activity going on? What do you look for?
I've been pretty lucky. I learned and listened when I was first starting. I watched certain people and listened to certain people, and there's stick things that I look for. I look for a stick snap, and I look for certain asterisks that they leave out there. And you start noticing, like I said, you start noticing what they do, and you believe you believe that that's what they do. And you look at that, they're watching you. They're watching you look at their stuff. And they're like, hey, this guy's paying attention to ours. This is how I feel. Again, this is just my opinion, folks. I'm not telling you. This is just how I feel and what I've experienced. They're watching. They know that you're looking at their stuff. So you mark that down. And then you go through the property again. This is what we did at Larry's. And then you find another thing, and then you mark that spot down, and then you make that pattern hike, and it's a big loop, And we're looking for a place to trade with them at Larry's, and we got our first knocks. So we went to where the knocks was, and there was this big, huge rock in the middle of the forest. So we traded with them there for 6 years. 6 years we stayed at that rock. And then at the end of the 6 years, we were burying those gifts under the ground, under rocks, in Tupperware containers. And we would come, and the rocks would be off the top of the Tupperware containers. The Tupperware container would be pulled from the hole, unsnapped, and the stuff would be gone. We got pictures, we got videos, I got witnesses. While we're up there, we'd have stones thrown at us, and So that's just I just think they watch to see if you're interested in their stuff, and you notice their stuff, and like I said, it's like little things. It's the little things you need to look for. I found these, everybody talks about these bends. I found an old tree stump at Larry's, and this is the coolest. I have a picture of it. I don't have it available, but I have pictures of it and video. It was a stick stuck in the stump and then bowed into the ground. Perfectly up at Larry's at the area that we were going to. It's just a little tiny thing. You would have never noticed it. Anybody, normal person, would have walked down that trail and never even paid attention to it. But we were out there looking for the Sasquatch. And that's what Sasquatch do. So we paid attention to it, we documented it, and we followed it. And I believe that's what works.
I am a firm believer that these creatures, when they know you, will contact you while you're on your way. Even the night before you're coming, they will start putting like a pressure on your brain and on your head. I usually get it about a day or two before I'm going to my spot. And then when we start driving in about 3-4 miles prior to us getting to our area, all of a sudden my neck starts feeling pressure. The back of my head and the sides of my head start feeling pressure, like something is squeezing my head. Do you get that as well?
Yeah. It's like they know you. It's like they're signaling you that you're coming, that they're there. When I walked into Larry's, we would know they were there. We knew they were there. We knew we get up to the gift rock and they were there. And then the days when we didn't get that, we knew they weren't there. We knew they didn't do anything at the rock, and we weren't going to find anything. Larry would get sick, like stomach sick. His stomach would turn when we get up near the gifting area. He would get like, his stomach would like turn. I think it's a frequency. I think they're a frequency thing. I think they project frequency. I think that white sebum stuff, or whatever alba verdex they call it now, I believe that white resin that they leave on windows and wherever, I believe that's I believe that's radioactive. I would bet you a cup of coffee, big better, right? That stuff has radioactive readings. I bring a Geiger counter with me now. We have RF readings. That's another reason. When we were down in Florida and up here, I left that whole part out. We were using RF meters for the first time. That's what ghost hunters were doing. That's what they were doing at Skinwalker Ranch. That's why we did it. That's why Chris came up with, let's try it here. We were getting that RF meter topped out in Florida and here in Connecticut for 15 minutes. Just topped out. One dash. We wrote the company. What does one dash mean on your meter? And they came back and told us that means the meter doesn't go any higher. That's it. It's topped. And you're like, where are you getting that? We had a satellite communication guy worked. I did it all his life for 30 years, seen our video. And he's like, I did the research on wrote us a letter, did a research on your RF meters. It's a broadband meter. He says there's nothing in the forest that should have been projecting that much radiation at you for being such a broad-based meter. He says if you guys were in a Faraday box and you were getting hit with that much RF, that would cook you. He says there's nothing out there except that there's a government drone over your head, sending signals down at you. That's the only thing out in the forest that you should have been registering with that. And we're having stones thrown at us and we're picking up EVPs at the same time. I left that whole part out. I'm sorry if I'm talking loud, but I get a little excited when I start talking about this.
But you're right. I mean, when they start giving you that signal through your body, what do you think is causing that? How do they do that? How do you think they know that you're coming, that you're on your way?
I just think they come part of you. There's something that they do to you. You're marked. I think they come to you, they mark you, they know where you. My gifting area. When I was gifting, I got sick, and I couldn't. My gallbladder went on me, and I couldn't make it up there for over a month. They came here. How the hell they know where I? Well, I don't know if it was them. But they left there was a coyote leg left at my back door, freshly ripped off the dog. I mean, it was disgustingly gross. Blood, everything. I got pictures of it. My wife found it. I didn't go out and kill a coyote that night and leave it at my back door, I'll tell you that. But I threw it in the forest. I went to go get the guys at work because I work where I live to show them it. And it was gone out of the forest. Something took it. 10 minutes. They were right there in the forest. What the heck did that? There was no coyote. You know, I mean, these guys, there's something, they mark you and they know you. They follow you. They follow you home like Scott Carpenter. Scott Carpenter would tell everybody, they'll follow you home. They knew where he lived. They know where you live. They're come home with you. I guarantee you've had experiences probably.
I
But
have had experiences at my home, but I'm still waiting for the day that Sasquatch figures out how to get to my place.
right. But it will, and they mark you. And that's the only way I could figure that they do. My buddy Chris down in Florida, they come to his house. They come to a lot of people's houses. They
Well,
know.
how far do you live from your location?
Over probably through the woods, probably about 6 miles.
Yeah, see, I'm about 30 miles, 35 miles.
All right. That might be just a little too much, but you never know.
I will say this, though. We have had success in our area with coins. We haven't had success with anything else. We have a gifting site. They know it's there. We know they know it's there. I've been told blue marbles work. I've been told whistles work. I've been told that rock gems work. You know, it's all still there.
Yeah. Well, you got to let them try everything. That's what we did. We tried everything. And then we learned what they liked. They loved 1970s dinosaur toys, little plastic dinosaur toys. They loved them.
Really?
They would take them. They would play with them. They would move them. Stuffed monkey. We had a stuffed monkey in the tree for the longest time. And we tied its arms around the tree branch, right? And then the only way to get it off the tree branch was to untie its arms or lift it up over this branch 14 feet high. We always played games. We always made it hard. We were trying to prove whatever was out there had hands. And we would find that monkey on the ground, Dave, with its arms still tied. And the only way to do that is to lift it up over that 14-foot branch and put it on the ground.
See, my skepticism doesn't allow me to do that because of the animals that are in our area. We are dealing in my area with grizzly bears, black bears, wild horses, moose, wolf packs. We know there is a resident mountain lion in the area because we've got a picture of her. Okay, so there is a little bit of other territory that we have to try and, move our way through. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But if it's a Sasquatch area, they ain't coming in. Those animals are not coming in. We would put apples in the trees, pierce them through the trees, right?
Yeah. That's different than my area, though. My area is like we have everything.
Right. No, I got you. I just wanted to, they didn't like Granny Smith apples. They would never touch the Granny Smith apples. And you know what the Granny Smith apple would happen to them? They would rot and they would fall on the ground. A deer wouldn't come in and eat them. A squirrel wouldn't come in and eat them. Nothing would touch them. Nothing would touch them. They would rot and fall. We had garlic on the rocks, rotted away. Oranges, rotted away. Nothing would come in there. That monkey got taken and then brought back a year later, the same week. And it looked, now I'm living in New England, stuffed animal, gone for a year in the New England weather. What would you imagine that monkey would have looked like?
I bet. Let's find out about the stuffed monkey when we return to
All right.
Spaced Out Radio with Chris Reinhardt. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, Chris, we're going to take about a 5.5 minute break here. I'm going to put a commercial on and come back to you, okay? I just got to find it.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. And let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
with 5 explorable Gold Rush era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten. The 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
Thank you, Mike, the videographer, for our videos. Thank you to our super chatters tonight, Kitty Catty Whack ×2, Forrest Louis, T-Bone, Noble Patrick, Von Patrick, Deborah Rooney, and Area 54. We greatly appreciate your love and support. And we are coming back in 20 seconds. 20 seconds, everybody. 20. Well, it's not 20 now. It's 15. And soon it's going to be 10. Like right now. Then it's going to be 5. Like right now. Then I'm going to keep quiet until the music. We are into hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. We love it when you are here. So that way we can tell you all these weird, strange stories, like with our guest tonight, Chris Reinhardt. Yeah, we're going to bring him in momentarily. But first, we want to say hello to all of you listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You could follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Fatigue. Fatigue is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's bring in the man from Real American Monsters. We have Chris Reinhardt hanging on out. We were talking a little bit of Sasquatch and trying to build connection with them. A lot of people will say that, oh, wow, this sounds very strange. This doesn't sound right. You're trying to coax a big, hairy creature that may or may not exist out of the forest and into your eyesight. Can be freaky sometimes, can't it, Chris?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it can get real freaky. The night was hard for me for a long time after my first interaction. I was nervous. I was a believer. You know what I mean? Everybody, if you're into it and you're following along and you're a believer, but once you become that knower and you see it and you experience it and you know they're real, and that's a game changer. It's a game changer. And took me a while to get comfortable. I'm still not very comfortable, but I'm comfortable enough with the night to hold my own now. But for a long time I wasn't, and I'm not afraid to say it because it's not supposed to be real, and then it is, and so it's a strange situation.
Do you still get scared now?
Snow Grove was a little hairy just because of the situation, because if something went on up there and it got out of hand, you're in trouble. There's no way out. We would put gas in the boat, enough gas and that's it. That was our escape route. There's no other. You couldn't run through the forest. You couldn't get away. I mean, if something went down up there, you were done. And that was a little hair raising because the second time we went out there, we found out that something had broken into the cabin again, not for the second time, and tore it all apart. And that was just 2 weeks prior to us being there. So, certain situations, but I was with I think you said Patrick Nobel was in the chat room. I was just with him in Alabama last summer, and we were out at the night. You know, we had some cool stuff happen down in Alabama, and I held my. I was fine. It's just, I guess, the situation. I guess will hit you in different areas.
How do you feel as a person when one of these is close to you? What happens to you?
When we were experiencing the gift area and we would have interactions, it's a happy feeling. You're excited. You're like, oh yeah, they came to visit. What'd they do? You know, you were all pumped up. Like down in Alabama, we were hearing these vocals from afar down in the valleys, and you down the lake, and they were that was, you know, you get excited. It's pretty cool. It just show it. I guess I'm an interaction junkie. When you're out there, you want to have something happen, you know, and it just makes it's exciting. And it really is. It's exciting, and exciting to be able to experience it time and time again too. You know, not a lot of people get to do that, but certain folks can, and I've been blessed enough to be able to experience it more than once.
What's the closest you've been?
My first interaction was in Missouri, and one huffed at me through the side of the tent. I felt its breath on my face. So I would say within probably 3/4 of an inch to an inch, if that's what it was. That was the closest at the beginning. And since then, we got these recordings last August, and we were just sitting at Larry's. We couldn't go all the way in because that's what happened at Larry's. The habituation area I was talking about is that the property sold, and then it ended, and we couldn't go back in, and I cried. All that time just down the drain. We couldn't go back in, and they were knocking at us 10 feet in back of us. So last August we went back up there again, and we were just sat in the dark right on the border, just threw chairs down and sat in the dark, and 30 feet in back of us they came right again like they were doing again, and just knocked on the tree in back of us, then started throwing stones, and then we caught those vocals.
When you have something huffing at you from just outside of your tent, I can't imagine how you hold your poise with something like that. I would be heart racing. I would be freaking out. I'd feel trapped.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I turned pale white, and I stood in the middle of the tent shaking. And the guy that, you know, I was down there with, they woke up and they shined a light on me, and they're like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened to me. You're just not going to believe what just happened to me. And you're like, well, tell us what happened. And I tell them, well, why didn't you wake us up? I said, I was too busy shaking. I was shaking. I said, I was shaking. And now I have to go out there, or else I'm going to ruin this tent for everybody. I have to go out and use the tree. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I got to go out there, and I don't want to go out there. I do not want to go out there. Yeah. But I did. I went out there. That was I guess that was the bravest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Oof.
I know what it's like to be stalked by these things. It's not fun. And as much as I don't think they are doing it to harm, I think they are territorial. And when they've had enough, they will do whatever it takes to intimidate you in order to get you out of your territory. Have you ever been escorted out of a forest or been made to feel that it is time for you to leave?
Oh yeah, that happened in Florida. That happened at Larry's. Yeah, it was time. You know, they're throwing stones at you. They're coming close, and they just don't want you there. There's something that they want, and you're in their way. You're either in their path or you're doing whatever, but they want you gone. Yeah, we've been and escorted out. You know, they're following you. They're following you to the point to where they know you're leaving, and then they'll drop back. But yes, we've had that happen before.
Tell us what that's like.
I mean, I just think that that's what they do. I mean, I just if they've had enough or whatever, for whatever reason they're doing it, I think that's just it. That their patience is up. They want whatever you brought. You know, we had a gifting area. We traded. We brought them apples. They loved apples and peanut butter. I mean, we tried everything up there, and we tried everything, and we knew what they loved. And I think they wanted them. I think they want you out. I think they'll follow you and make sure you're gone, and they'll tail you. And we at another area I called Rock Throw Alley. They would follow. They work as a team, and it was very cool. And one would follow you. When we first came in, there was an area we would start making our way up a creek, and one would follow you. And then we got up to this little bridge at the top of the hill. That one would leave us, and he would branch off, and he would go down below us. And then there was another one that would come in behind us, and he would follow us up above the ridge for a while. Then we would get down to around the bend, and then we would come around this corner. That one would stop. Then the one in back of us that left us before, he would start coming up from behind on our, what they call it, the 6. We would make our way up to the top of this one area. We always go the same, again, pattern hikes. We would go to the same area, the same way, everything. They knew what we were doing. So they had their thing. They could do their thing, and they weren't feeling threatened. We would get up to there. There would be that one that would come up from the front of us. And there would be one that would come in from the right. And then the 6 would stand at the bottom of the hill. And most of the times he would bark like a dog. And we got it on recordings. And he would sit down there. There's no dogs up there. And he would bark every time like this. And the girls were up there. My team was up there. We all experienced that guy from Mass that came. He experienced it. And then the stones would come in. There's something up there that they don't want us to see. They don't want us to interact with them. I don't know. But yeah, so and then you would come back down the hill. They would start knocking. You would hear them knock. And until you got to this one corner where you knew they wouldn't go any further, that was it. They would never go any further than this one corner. And then you knew that they weren't with you anymore.
Do you think they were just being territorial or trying to get you out of their area?
I think I think it's the one and the same. I think they just wanted us out. There was something there. I don't know if they had little ones. I think I feel about the little ones. You know, you ever notice all the good footage that's out there is dealing with a baby? Look at Patty. Obviously, Patty was lactating. Obviously, she had a child nearby. We don't have film of it, but you know, you could put one and one together. Then you have the other one where he picks up. I can't remember everybody's name, but who's the one that says, "Oh, there he goes"? I can't. What's his name? I got the cast sitting right in back of me. I can't remember his name. Is that Paul? Paul? Yeah. So in that film, what does he go down? Now they got the new footage. He goes down the hill after he says, "Oh, there he goes." Guess what does he pick up? He reaches down. He picks up a little one and carries it away. The Memorial Day footage of the one with the rock, you know, the big stone. What does he go behind the rock and pick up? Child. All the best footage out there has a child in it. I think that's the only reason why they let you see you. They're distracting you. They want you to see her. Patty was distracted. She's follow me because something's over there. That's just what I believe. All that good footage is with the child. So maybe there's a birthing area at the top, or the area that we have is where they keep their kids, or you know, something. It could be anything. It could be whatever anybody comes up with, whatever you believe and find evidence of. But they have their areas. We had an area at Larry's that we would never go to. Never go to. We knew we wouldn't go there. We shouldn't go there. We never did. Never went there. All them years, we never went down this one place. Never. Because we knew we weren't supposed to be there. So you have, like you said, you have that feeling. They let you know somehow, some way that where you're not supposed to be.
What's the closest you have been to a tree knock?
Oh, very close. 10 feet, 30 feet, 30 feet this last August. Right behind us. Like I said, at Larry's, that last time we found that compass tree They were 10, 20 feet in back of us. They knocked right on the tree. We caught it right on tape. We put the compass right on the X in the middle of this tree that was hanging in the vines. Because we walked up there at 5 o'clock in the morning one morning on our pattern hike. And this is how you notice new things. That's not in the ordinary. If you walk down that same path and then all of a sudden there's this big X laying in the tree, hanging in the vines that was never there before, you're like, hey, that's new. What is that? Go check it out. So we went up there, we found that morning, and we looked, and the sun was coming right up in the middle of it, right dead center. I said, Larry, next time we come up, we bring the compass, and we're going to put it right here and see magnetic north on the X. And when we're sitting there having the compass on the tree, right in back of us, probably about 20 yards, knock, knock. And Larry goes, oh, I heard that. I'm like, yep, let's just keep on doing what we do with her back there. They're checking us out. The next week we go up there, and guess what? They took it down. It's on the ground now. They took it out of the vines. It's down on the ground. Still magnetic north. Still the X is where it's supposed to be. Still they can use it as a marker. So that's how we knew it was them. That's how we knew it was theirs. So, yeah, close. We've had knocks. They were, like I said, that last year at Larry's, they were knocking all the time to let us know where they were. And then we went back in August for that lawn shot. And, yeah, they came right in just like they did before, knocked right there.
How violent was it?
Wasn't violent at all. They were just, then they threw a couple stones, but the temperature dropped. And we left because it was like 40 degrees in August, and we were just in regular T-shirts, and we weren't dressed for it, and it got real cold. So we left the recorders in the tree and got those vocals.
Last year, we actually had a friend of mine who is part of our local reserve, and she came out with her drum and she started singing. After she started singing, or after she finished singing, I should say, literally sat down for about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, and maybe 30 yards from us was the most violent crack that I've ever heard on a tree. Like it wasn't just a thud. It was Barry Bonds hitting a baseball.
All right. I got one for you. It's incredible.
I want it.
So we were at Snowgrove Lake, and we were there. This is the first year we went. We went 2 years in a row, and this is the last. We were waiting for the plane. We're all packed up, all our gear's on the dock, and we're waiting for the plane to get there. First day the sun was out all week, and we're just sitting up by the cottage, and we got my friend Adam's down on the dock. My friend Bud is next to me. All of a sudden, we hear this knock, Dave. It sounds like an explosion. It sounds like 2 30-foot telephone poles swung at each other, exploding. Like, boom! Like, kaboom! Like a Volkswagen's hitting each other and blowing up. And me and Bud, and then all of a sudden on our chest, we felt waves, like, boom, like recoil, boom, boom, boom. And me and Bud look at each other. We don't go, did you hear that? We go, do you feel that? It hit us in our chest. I'm glad you brought that up, but it made me remember. I forget things. I'm getting old. But it was like waves on the ocean hitting us in the chest. It was incredible. It was the loudest thing you've ever heard. The plane lands about 10 minutes later. The pilot gets out. She's doing her thing. She's walking around the cottage looking at her thing. She goes to check out the propane tank. She takes the propane tank. She picks it up. She puts it back on the deck. She puts it back on the deck from the back of the cabin now. Boom! Again, we call it the thunder knock, because that's what it was. It was loud as thunder. And there's nothing moving. There's no wind. It's sunny, beautiful, nothing. And we're leaving. So we're like, figures last day, we get this incredible wood knock or whatever it was. It was an explosion. It was some sort. And, but we felt it. Like if you were sitting in the ocean and the waves hit you in the chest while you're just like sitting there, 3 of them, waves of the sound. Boom, boom, boom. It was incredible. That morning, we're sitting on the back deck at Snowgrove, drinking our coffee, having pine cones thrown at us over the outhouse. sitting. It was like, you would have laughed. We're laughing. We're having a good old time. We're just drinking our coffee, and there's pine cones just literally coming over the outhouse, being thrown at us. So I got all brave. I said, "Give me that GoPro. I'll go out there." And I took the GoPro. I walked. There's like a 30-foot plank down to the outhouse. So I got down to the outhouse, and then I got hit with a pine cone. I said, "Nope, that's not it for me." I turned around and came back to the deck. But that last day at Snellgrove that first year was incredible. Holy cow. But that we call it the Thunder Knock. And it was incredible. So yeah, that's the loudest one I've ever heard.
We have a weird thing that happens up here. Okay. And that is the phenomena in our area will only come out to play if certain people are there. So let's say, for instance, Chris, you travel up here, but the phenomena doesn't want you there. It will literally silence the entire forest for the entire night. Do you have that sense in your areas that certain people are not allowed to go there? Or you'll get a message from the phenomena, I don't want that person there.
Yeah, I think after, if you bring a certain person like 4 or 5 times there, you know what I mean? Like a few times, nothing ever goes on. I think then there's something going on, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I never really thought about it that way. I know there's researchers out there that will never experience anything after their first experience, it just because of the way they are, and I'm not going to get into any of that, but I think they sense who you are inside. I don't know how to explain that. I think they know your tendencies. I think they know what kind of person you are. If you're a person that would help an old lady across the street, or you're a person that would sit there and laugh at them because they can't get across the street. I think they're a good judge of character, and I don't know how to explain that to folks, but that could possibly be, if you have one of those kind of people with you, they wouldn't interact. I think after that, like I used to go to an area all the time, and we would have interaction all the time, no matter who I brought up there. But I brought up, somebody there like 3 times, and then nothing happened. So is it that person? Could very well be that person. It could just not even, not like them. You know what I mean? But you get the people together that have these interactions over and over again, and the energy and the vibe and the frequency and the vibration you're setting off, things are going to get interesting. I can tell you that. I've experienced that too. You get a bunch of people in the same area that's had the same thing going on. It gets crazy.
Yeah, our area, there are certain people where it's like they've asked, "Can we go to your spot?" And I'll be like, "No, you're not invited." Like it's like I just instantaneously know it. And look, I'll take anybody up there. I don't mind, but I don't want to upset the phenomena that all of a sudden says, "Yeah, you broke the rules too many times. You brought too many people we didn't want up here, and so we're not going to give you anything now." Like I'm very superstitious that way.
Right. No, you could be very 100% right. Could be 100% right on that.
We have about a minute to go before we go to break at the bottom of the hour. Chris Reinhardt, Real American Monsters, is with us tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to have him till the top of the hour. Chris, a lot of people might think that you're putting yourself in danger. You're a father, you're a grandfather, you're a husband. Why do this?
Because I'm addicted. That's the only thing I can tell you. I don't drink. I'm sober. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do nothing. I'm a pretty boring guy. I love doing this. I love the interactions. I love knowing that they're out there, whatever it is. I love the phenomena. I love capturing the evidence. I mean, I just love it. And that's what keeps me going. My wife is scared for me all the time. She doesn't want me doing it. She knows all the stuff that's happened. There's more crazy stuff that's gone on. And most people, after that happened to them, they wouldn't do it no more. But I just got to keep going. I love it.
Well, when we return, we're going to get into a few audience questions, but I want to know, what's the payoff? What is the payoff that keeps you putting yourself in harm's way and in danger of these creatures? Because some of them are pretty docile, but there are ones out there that may not have human best interest at heart. Chris Reinhardt, Real American Monsters. We have until the top of the hour, everybody. Stay tuned. We return after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we are clear, buddy. Solid
right.
show so far.
Yeah, thank you. You know what the best part about doing your show is you let me talk about the stuff that I've experienced. I've been on all these other shows, along the line, and it turns into more of what they want you to talk about. You like to hear what I actually want to talk about, and I really appreciate that. That's why I'm here.
I can be more selfish and more of a prick if you need.
No, that's good. No, that's why I said that's why I love doing your show. I just wish I was on the West Coast, or I'd do it more often.
Brother, I tell you, I wish you were on the West Coast too, so we could take you up to the old area.
Well, I like to travel. I'm not afraid of traveling, so we could arrange it.
Come on up.
I got my visa. I know how to get to Canada.
Pack the wife up and say we're going to British Columbia.
Oh yeah, no, the wife will not come. She won't. Like I said, she's nothing. She won't even go camping anymore. Nothing. She used to hike. She would walk in the woods by herself. Take a little hike or walk in the forest or path. Nothing. She won't even go look in the forest. So
well, she can hang out with mine.
There you go.
Well, we go play.
Yep, she doesn't. She won't go anywhere in the woods anymore. Had to buy kayaks. She'll go out kayaking. That's about it.
Not me. No, not me. The minute I hop in a kayak, that fin is going to come out of the water. like that idiot in Australia. There's a
you need a bigger boat
where he's fishing in the ocean, probably half a mile.
Yeah.
And the 17-foot great white starts following his kayak.
Yeah, I seen that.
Why would you take a kayak into a great white infested area? You are looking to die. And then the shark is following him, which means it's sizing him up.
Oh yeah, it followed him he was shitting his pants. Whoops, sorry. He was in his pants. He was.
Oh, yeah. I was shitting we're in break here. I was shitting my pants for him. I couldn't even finish that video. I was so scared. I could not even finish that video.
Yep. That was crazy. No, you wouldn't catch me out there. I'm talking just lake fishing for smallmouth. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not into any great white largemouth, that's for sure.
Man. I do have to say this. I've never caught a largemouth bass. That is on my bucket list for fishing.
Oh, they're fun. They put up a good fight for about 5 minutes, and then they're too fat and tired, and then you can just reel them right in. But they whomp it.
Oh yeah, they're angry fish.
Yeah, smallmouth are fun to catch. Those are the ones to catch because they put up a good fight.
Evan Walters, you're pissing me off for liking this interview. Just wanted to let you know. We got about just under 2 minutes here.
Yeah, that was a crazy video. I'm just thinking about he was afraid, man, for his life. But what I don't get, he kept on paddling across the shore. Why didn't he just go towards the rocks? Why didn't he go towards the island?
That's what I was was yelling at him. Go towards the shore. Stop going parallel.
All right. I couldn't understand that.
Right?
That was a big shark.
It was a big shark.
It was. You need a bigger boat, dude, to be out there. That's for sure.
I'll be honest with you. I'm getting anxiety just talking about that. And you get these people in Florida under the bridges like the road bridges that have all the big tarpon and tiger sharks and hammerheads and great whites in there.
Yeah, even the groupers.
They're in a kayak. How dumb do you have to be?
Yep. Those giant groupers too that they go fishing for them, they could swallow that boat whole too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Thank you to Noble Patrick, Vaughn Patrick, Deborah Rooney, Area 54, T-Bone, Forrest Louie, and Kitty Cattywhack ×2 for the super chats. If you haven't yet, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithms here on YouTube. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. Why? We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So make sure you check it on out. And we're going to get going here in about 5 seconds. So sit back, relax. Hi, Thurston Howell III. Here we go. We are into the second half of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Let's get right to Chris Reinhardt here on the big show because we're still talking Sasquatch. We're still having some fun here, my man, and I appreciate you tuning in with us.
Well, thank you for having me. I got to get one of those Chicks Dig Bigfoot shirts. I love that commercial. That was a cool commercial.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate. They're on the Spaced Out Radio website.
Yeah, I got to get one. I'm going to get one.
I appreciate that. Everybody could get one. Everyone deserves to get one, because it's not ugly. Not ugly at all. So make sure you do. Have you ever had any encounters with other cryptid creatures while you've been in your Sasquatch areas?
Not that I can really say for definite, that I would, other than the paranormal side of it all. And I've caught plenty of EVPs and I've seen full body apparitions. I've seen my wife and myself have seen 2 UFOs close up. We've seen a mothership probably the size of a football field over my apartment and disappear up into the woods one night. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And she still can't believe it to this day. And there was other people out in the parking lot that night, and we were out there pointing at it and saying, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh my God, how big that is. And we got in the car and chased it. And Maria told me, she's like, did you notice that nobody else looked up? It was like we weren't even there. She's like, we're the only ones that seen that. And I'm like, no, I didn't notice that. She goes, yeah, no, Joe was out, our neighbor Joe, and everybody's getting groceries out of their cars. Not another person looked up at that night and never commented on it. And this thing was the size of a football field. I have pictures of it. She's seen it. She witnessed it, and it was unreal. And didn't make a sound. It banked it. And then I always described it as it had triangle panels on it. It was all triangles, like a brass copper color, and it banked. And when it banked, you could see it was like this, and it was just, and then it flattened out, and it was just not a noise out of it. But when it banked, I drew a picture of the bank, and to this day, I just finally came up and the panels. It's the Star of David. It's the Star of David, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh, I showed my wife. I'm like, oh, look at this, Maria. Look at the panels. I never noticed before, but if you turn it, it's the Star of David on top of that ship. It was incredible. I've experienced that twice. She's seen them both times with me. Most of the things that I tell you guys, I've had witnesses with me on everything. I had mind speak before. I didn't have a witness to that, but it would only happen once. Or it happened twice, two weeks in a row, one night each week, and it never happened since. I had a little rake-looking dude, about 6 inches like that run across my chest in my bed one night.
Oh my.
I screamed. My wife came running upstairs. What is going on? And she thought I was dying. I was screaming like a little schoolgirl. And I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened. I drew a picture of that too. I could see it. Look at my hair on my arm just standing straight up. And I heard that thing jump on the floor. I wasn't dreaming. And it ran across the floor. I heard it after it went across my chest. This little scary, translucent, little rake looking thing. I've been working with a psychic now, and she told me that I have, I don't know how to, I don't know anything about this stuff, but psychic abilities, and in a world of darkness, you're a light. She says she's never seen a brightest white light as mine. She actually reached out to me and said, to somebody that she needed to talk to me. She didn't know who I was. She actually reached out to me because she heard whatever she felt. And she's taught me, what to look out for and how to keep these things out of here, because I had a full apparition of an alien looking thing in my basement. And I had to bless my own house. And again, I'm not making any of this stuff up. I'm just, sharing my experiences with you all. I'm just a grandfather and a husband, and I work full time, and and this happens to go on my hobby, or whatever you want to call it, what it is now. But so yeah, I've experienced the UFO, the paranormal, apparitions, little creatures. I guess that's about it.
You mention how this has become an addiction for you. What do you mean by the addiction?
Well, number one, I've always enjoyed the woods, and this keeps me in the woods. But I love the interaction. I love getting that interaction. I love getting that stone throw. I love getting that recording. I love knowing that something's there. I love to come home and talk about it. It's not even about gathering evidence anymore. I know they exist. I know they're out there.
It's the experience, the close encounter.
Yeah, I mean, we have footprints, we have DNA. Well, it has done nothing. It's a nothing burger. It is proving nothing. I just want to show people that the interactions are real, and you can experience it if you want. And
right. What's your dream?
I want to see that 10 foot. I want to see one in front of me in 10 foot, and then I'll stop. That's it. That'll be it for me. I want a 10-foot Sasquatch experience. I want to look it in the eye. I want it to look me in the eye, and I want to see it 10 feet from me, and then I will be done. I will no longer need to. I just want that close up. Want to see it.
That's what I want. I want that close encounter where it is just right there. And I know I'm going to freeze. I know I'm going to be freaked out. I know that I'm going to probably hit the panic button a little bit, but I want to be able to have that feeling of just, I don't want to call it terror, because it probably will be, but that close encounter, just to say, as weird as this sounds, I just want to say thank you. I want to have that close encounter where I could just say thank you.
All right, it's kind of the butter, the icing on the cake for you. You've done all this other stuff, you've experienced all this other stuff, and now you got that up front and close and personal, and it's all I need. That's it. I will probably be done and go after ghosts, because I'm really into that right now. I'm into the whole ghost thing.
Yeah, the ghost thing doesn't interest me as much as it does. I've done so much of it. Like, to me, the thrill of the chase with the Sasquatch, and the thought that I might be, have my arm ripped off and beaten with it, that just excites me.
Right. Yeah, you're walking down the trail, and one reaches out from the trail and grabs you by the neck and just pulls you in the forest, and you're gone, never coming back. That was my biggest fear. But I've been doing this for 10 years now, 11 years, whatever, how many years, and never have felt that. Never. We had up at Snow Grove Lake the first night we were there. Something ran its hand. The rafters in the back of the cottage is 14 feet in the air, and something ran either its arm or a hand or a stick on those rafters and hit the back of that cabin to wake us all up. If that wanted us, we're in the middle of nowhere, and there's only a certain amount of people that know where we are. If they wanted us dead or whatever, or take us and never be seen again, they had every opportunity to do it while we were up there. Every opportunity. We could have been up there and never been seen again. But it never has happened. I just don't think it's them that does it. And I just, I think it's that dog man thing or whatever it is. But I don't even want to know about that. I have no interest in the dog man. I like to hear about it. I like to hear the interactions. I like to talk to people that have had it, but I have no interest in finding one. I just think they're an evil being.
I agree with you. They scare the daylights out of me, man.
Yep.
They do.
When like they said, I've interviewed a lot of people because I got the little podcast that had dog man experience. When they escort you out, you're in fear for your life. You're in fear. If you don't do what they want, you're probably going to end up hurt. That's where the Sasquatch got you beat. They'll push you and they'll scare you, but you're not going to hurt you. They're not going to they won't even make you feel like you're going to get hurt. Again, that's just my experience. I could be totally 100% wrong. So don't take what I'm telling you out into the woods. Oh, well, Chris says that you can't get hurt. Don't do that. I'm just telling you what's happened to me in my life. Again, I don't want nobody to get hurt. I don't want anybody to experience, I just want people to be able to experience what we are and be safe about it.
Let's get to a couple audience questions here for you, my man. Let's start off with T-Bone here. You ever had any alien encounters? T-Bone wants to know.
No, just with those two crafts that my wife and I saw, and little black apparition of something that was in the top of the hallway over here that looked kind of like a little alien, but it was a black shadow thing. But no, not that I know of, or anything maybe. But we've definitely seen those crafts, and so that's as close as I've gotten that I know of.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think it's coming? Considering you're starting to open up yourself to more of the phenomena.
I think it is. I think I meditate every night. I was meditating with Moldavite when all this other, the stuff happened with the ship and the blacked out chopper and all that. I was meditating with Moldavite on my third eye, and that's when all that weird stuff started happening. Ever since I stopped doing that and praying at night instead, that stuff hasn't happened. So, I think Sasquatch is a space monkey of some such. I just don't think they're here. I don't know if they're fly around in UFOs. I just don't think they're from here. So I guess that doesn't really answer any of the questions, but
either way, I think it does. Let's go back with T-Bone. What type of equipment do you use out in the field?
So when I first started, it was camcorder and all that, and now I have everything known to man. My greatest tool is the recorder. We always have a recorder going. That's important every time we're out there. I just invested in a new Nikon ZR this year to get better footage while I'm out there in the field. We're going to be using frequency generators this year, so we're going to be call blasting frequencies out while we're out there. I have thermals. I have night vision. I have GoPro 360, which is another tool I'm going to try out this year. I just think when you're going down the trail, to have a 360 camera going that films every angle is a good thing to have going. So yeah, I use all those tools, but I also use tuning forks. That's how I do my 40 hertz. That's how I've drawn them in before with the tuning fork, and got a couple other little things we're going to try. I'm building this year that never been built before. So yeah, that's a bunch of the stuff that we use.
Have you ever got Geiger counter readings out in the field where there shouldn't be radiation?
Only the RF, only from the meters, only from the microwaves.
The reason why I ask is we had at our Sasquatch location a UFO landing a couple of years ago. And Lee Strauss, who's on after you, he brought his Geiger counter up last year. And I took him into the spot where the UFO was that I saw on the ground. And I was blown away by the radiation detection 2 years afterwards. And we're going around, the entire ground is covered in moss. And the weird part about it was, after all of a sudden Lee kind of looks down and he goes, "You got to be kidding me." And I'm like, "What?" And then he takes his hat, he shows me his hat like this and gives me the old tip of the cap. And then he looks down and there is a footprint of a Sasquatch in the moss. There were two of them, I believe. It just kind of tripped me out, that 2 years later we'd get that radiation. And then right after that, we would get, the actual, I don't know how a Geiger counter works, so I'm not going to give the actual reading on it, but it was ticking pretty good. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I believe the Sasquatch give off radiation. I think they do. Like I said, that white that white substance they leave, like their handprints on windows and stuff like that. I think that's what happens when that door opens. I think whatever it is, where they come from or how they come back and forth, I think once they open that door, that's where that's where that radiation comes from. That's where those microwaves come from. That's where we're getting those RF meter readings. Again, that's just my opinion, but I can't wait. I went to Alabama last year and my friend Flat Rock's house, and he had a handprint that was left on his porch of one of the, the Serba Verdex or whatever they call it. And I brought my Geiger counter down there, but it was too far gone to even try and get a reading off it. But there was folks down in Florida or Texas, I believe, that had a footprint, and they put that Geiger counter on a Bigfoot footprint with that white substance, and they got a reading off of it. I just think that and again, I'll bet you a cup of coffee if we ever get the chance to test it. I bet you it's radioactive.
Let's go to another question here. Let's go to Pre-Blown. Chris, have you ever experienced mind speak?
So I did twice, and I haven't ever again. And it had to do with the gifting area, and it had to tell me, it was right before there was the hummingbird thing was a part of a big month and a half thing that was going on here at the house. And it all started off with a sighting in my own town, and that came down the same creek of that where Larry's was. Now Larry's, like I said, got sold, so we couldn't go up there anymore. And we always believed that there was 3 of them up there. And the 2 of them, the 2 adults left the little one up there, and we thought they were left there to do whatever they want, start their own family. We don't know. But on the same creek that week that the hummingbird stuff went on here, there was a sighting in my town that the same creek that Larry's was on. And then across town, there was a sighting that when it cut across town would come to my place. And then all the hummingbird things started. But what happened earlier that week was I was in my bed, and I was either doing my meditation. And I heard this, all of a sudden in my head, it was going, na, 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 na. And I was just meditating, and na, 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 na. And then all of a sudden, Natari. And this face, I can still look at my hair. And this face came to me. I drew her. I have her in my files. This face of a young Sasquatch came. She had like Elvis pork chop sideburns, and she had dreadlocks and big dark black eyes. And her name was Natari. And I woke up from my meditation. I was like, whoa, what was that? And I'm like, okay, if this is real, I need a sign, a physical sign that this really happened. The next morning I get downstairs, I go downstairs and my wife goes, well, what's all that stuff out in the backyard? And I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't know. So I went out my backyard. I go out into the backyard and there's a Tupperware container and a stuffed monkey left in my backyard. 2 of the items that I used at the gifting area. I asked for a physical sign the night before of something that I would know that this was real. And then 2 of the items that I used up at the area, not the same items. They were different, but they were a Tupperware container and a stuffed monkey. That blew my mind. So I told Maria all about it. She's like, oh my God, oh my God. So we put the monkey in the tree and across the road. And 2 weeks later, I had another one. I had another meditation, and this little Ewok looking guy would he could only see a patch of his eyes, and he came running across my room and jumped up on my chest, and he went, Archibald, like that. And I woke up again, and I'm like, whoa, what was that? I woke up the next morning, I went downstairs, I tell my wife everything, so she doesn't think I'm crazy. She might think I'm crazy, but she still loves me. And she goes, well, you're not going to believe this, but look across the street. I look across the street. Guess what's gone? The monkey in the tree's gone that same next day. Gone. I'm like, wow. She goes, well, there's something I didn't tell you all week either. I'm like, what? She goes, all my animals didn't come to the feeders for the last 4 days. She feeds everything. The birds, the turkeys, the squirrels, the possums. She has possums that she feeds. None of her animals came for 4 days.
Oh no.
That's because that Archibald Creek thing was in the woods. And he took that monkey that last day and made sure he knew that he was there and gone. And that was it. That was the only times that I've ever had any kind of a mind speak. I never had messages. I never had anything like that. But those are my mind speak things. And I had physical proof the next day of it being real. So that's pretty wild.
We got one more question for you tonight because we got about 2 minutes left. We'll go to Deborah Rooney here, who is asking, Chris, do you ever play music on your searches for the creatures?
Have we ever played music? We played our own music. We would bring flutophones and drums and the tuning forks but I don't think we ever played music. No, just our own music. We would, like I said, we'd beat on a drum or play the flutophone and then now we're blasting frequencies, 40 hertz frequencies and stuff like that. I wish we had time to play the singing recording that I sent you. That's a mind blower.
You know what? I totally forgot to load it up. You know what? This just means we're going to have to bring you back.
All right.
This just means we're going to have to bring you back and we're going to have to play those sounds. I do apologize. That is actually my fault. And, as a longtime radio host, I should know better.
Yeah, we caught him singing. It's incredible. It's really incredible. And there's bones, you hear these clacks of bones going tink, tink, tink. And then you hear him. It's incredible recording. Those bone sounds are the first of its kind. Never been captured that as far as we know.
Well, my goodness. That just bugs me that I did that.
That's all right. We can do it next time.
We will do it next time. Unless during the break I can load this up. If you want to stick around for a couple minutes after the break, and that way we could play these.
Yeah, I'll stick around for it, and then I'll let your next guest get on with his.
Yeah, well, Lee comes in. Lee doesn't mind. He loves the Sasquatch too.
Yeah, he'll love the. You're gonna just play the singing one. That's you don't have to play.
The one you sent to me on Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, the 2 of them. Yeah.
Okay. I will pull them up here in a little bit. We're gonna stick around with Chris Reinhardt. When we return on Spaced Out Radio, we'll have Swamp Dweller to kick things off. Then extra small Lee Strauss will be here. It's going to be an awesome hour, number 3. Monster talk, UFO talk, and Lee's dating life talk next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Chris, did you email them to me or did you send them on Facebook?
I emailed them to you.
Let me find you here. Where the hell did they go? I know I saw them. There they are. There they are. Okay. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back, everybody. Sit tight, Chris.
Yeah.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below. Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner tow? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best-kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, we have Chris. We have extra small Lee Strauss. Nice to see you, buddy.
Hey, man.
Seconds. I'm going to quickly download these pieces of audio, which I have. Let me just grab these. I'll put these into StreamYard. We're coming back in 10 seconds. And Swamp Dweller will be about 2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes. Kaiju, how are you, buddy?
Oh, man. I'm fantastic.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We are so glad to have you with us wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. It is, what do we got here, Clam? What do we got? Fantigue. Fantigue is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Hello, my name is Ree, and I was hoping you could tell my story about the Dogman. I've actually encountered it 3 times. At least I believe so. The first time was around 3 a.m. I was on my way to a friend's house because she and her boyfriend were fighting. I was going to go pick her up and take her out of there. Out of nowhere, this huge dog thing runs in front of me in the road. So I slammed on my brakes. When I looked up to make sure I didn't hit it, the dog stood up on its hind legs just like a human would, and then it walked off into the direction of the wood. At the time, I just figured it was because it was 3 a.m. and I was tired. I thought maybe I was just seeing things. The second time I saw it was around 5 a.m. on Duncan Road in Pineville, Louisiana. I was riding my friend's street bike when I saw what looked like someone standing in the road. I stopped and lifted my helmet shield to see it better. That's when I realized it wasn't a person at all. It was that same dogman creature I had seen before. As soon as I recognized it, it dropped down on all 4s and ran into the woods. I immediately turned around and went back to my friend's place. The third time was the most intense. My friend Manny and I were driving to my friend's house down Eslerfield Road. Suddenly, something huge ran out in front of us. I covered my face and screamed, while Manny just sat there in shock. At least, I think he did. I couldn't really see. With my face still covered, I asked him, "Did we miss whatever it was?" He quietly responded, "It stopped us." I was so confused. So I asked, "Is it okay to look?" He said, "Yeah, I guess if you want to see bright yellow eyes and a pissed off creature." That made my stomach drop. Slowly, I uncovered my face. The dogman was walking towards the woods. When it reached the tree line, it dropped down onto all fours and disappeared. We rushed to my mom's house, and as soon as we got onto the porch, we heard this ear-piercing howl. To this day, I still wonder if I'll ever run into that creature again.
Thank you, Swampy, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, head on over to YouTube, type in Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. We got thousands of stories for you just to hang out and listen to. They're amazing. Go hit subscribe. Time for Lee.
They call him extra small, but he's big where it counts. Chasing Bigfoot through the woods on wild accounts. Talking ghosts in the dark, UFOs in the sky. Aliens laughing while they're cruising by. Yeah, Lee Strauss is out there. Hear that cosmic call? He's the legend of Element 115. Here on Spaced Out Radio's Q&A.
Extra small Lee Strauss, good to have you here.
Absolutely, my man.
So
I've
Chris
been
Reinhardt
listening
is with us still as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted us to play some audio here. And after we play this audio, get his reaction, Chris is going to drop on out. But Chris, thank you for sticking around. I want to hear these. So I'm going to play this. 1 second. Oh, there's nothing creepy about that, Chris.
It's about 1 o'clock in the morning in Northwest Connecticut woods.
I was literally just goosebumping the hell out of my arms here. Like I've got chills after listening to that. What was that?
Well, we think it's a Sasquatch singing. That's what we think. It goes higher and higher on its notes, and then that screaming and so that was later on in the night. The other recording that you got was earlier in the night, and this is more of aggressive of stuff that's going on. We don't know what was happening. It just only took 10 years to catch 30 seconds worth of something. So that's why you keep on doing what you're doing.
Well, here's the second piece of audio that you brought. That's even more chilling.
Yeah, I couldn't hear that one too good. But there's a spot in that middle where you hear this. It's just crazy recording. Got lucky.
How far away were you from those? And did they happen on the same night?
So those two recordings happened on the same night, but we weren't there for it. That was the night that we left because it got cold. We had knock in back of us. Then we had the rock throws. And then we had to leave because it dropped down to 40. So we just put the recorders in the trees and left. And then we caught them about an hour and a half later.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's why you never give up and keep on doing what you're doing.
When you recorded that and you played it back, what was going through your mind?
Yes, finally something, something, because we've heard it before, just never caught it before like that. And I mean, you don't catch vocals like that all the time, that's for sure.
You definitely do not.
No.
At our Sasquatch spot, we've heard the samurai chatter. We've heard roars. We've heard the growl that you literally feel inside your chest while it's growling. There's nothing creepy about that. But I've never heard this before. Lee, have you heard something like this before outside of the Sierra Sounds?
Yeah, I have. Here in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest by Mount Adams, I've heard a lot of things, and that's very similar to some of the stuff I've heard down there.
When you hear that in person, because I never have, what goes through your mind, Lee, when you start hearing that?
Well, obviously it's a call, right? And it's not meant for humans. It's meant for another Sasquatch. Hey, I'm over here, so just letting you know. That's what they're doing, is that they're calling to another Sasquatch. It's not meant to necessarily scare you away. It's just, just a call. I have no idea exactly what it means, but for us, it's terrifying because we don't recognize that sound, right? So we don't know if they're coming for us, but most likely it's not even for us. It's for whoever else is out there, other Sasquatch. Right.
So David Ellis put it through his sound regimen. I mean, we bounced these for 6 months before we released them. We wanted to make sure that these weren't people, these weren't, because there's talking in there too that we haven't dragged out yet. And it came back to where we could release it and be confident in what we're hearing. And there's 3 different individuals in that recording. We're using a new program. It's called Spectral Layers. They use it in the movies. And you can actually go into this program, put it in it, and you can pull these sounds out and make their own layers. And you can tell how many individuals are in there. And we picked out 3 separate vocal ranges of something that was making those noises. So that guy, when I was telling you about the 40 hertz before, and him and his mother that recorded the Bigfoot purr there, he has some amazing recordings. Tristan Yolton, if you can ever look up his stuff, he's got some crazy recordings. So but again, I don't want to go on everybody else's time. I appreciate you playing and having me and playing those things for me. And
I do have one question for you before you jump on out of here, Chris. What or how close were you to these sounds?
So where we were, and when at the first, I believe there's a swamp that's up by Larry's property. So I believe they were up in the swamp. So I would say they were probably a half mile away from us, from where we were sitting that night. That's my guess.
Wow, that's close.
Yeah, I wish we heard them. I wish we were, we're old men, I guess, and can't handle the 40-degree weather in August in t-shirts, but it was cold and we left. But
hold on, you were 40 degrees? That is t-shirt weather, my friend.
Well, yeah, we're not up in the Great White North either, eh?
Oh man. I'd have been there in a t-shirt. Chris, thank you very much. Chris Reinhardt, Real American Monsters. You can check him out on YouTube. Google his name. He is absolutely everywhere. And one of the good guys in the field. Chris, thank you. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
All right. Thank you for having me. Nice meeting you, Lee. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Whoever, I can't see anything out of my right eye, so I don't know anybody that's been here, so
It's all good, my friend.
I
Have a great-
appreciate it. Thanks.
Take care. Chris Reinhardt, everybody. Man, those were creepy. Absolutely creepy. I don't see. There are certain things, Lee, that scare me.
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of my former mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay. That would scare me.
Yeah.
That would scare me. Like, I remember in 2023 when there were 7 of us up at Flight 21, and way off in the distance, we heard a roar that lasted about 10 to 15 seconds. And it was one pitch. And when it started, it went up to that roaring sound, and then it just kind of slowly died off. You know, almost like the perfect recording. But one thing that I remember from that roar, while the 7 of us were like, holy cow, can't believe that just happened, was somewhere in between wherever that sound was to the west of us, and in between us were some free-range cattle from one of the ranches. And those cattle started going haywire, mooing, all like they wouldn't stop mooing. Like you could tell that whatever that was intimidated them, and intimidated them big time. Like they were like, we got to get the hell out of Dodge here. Now, we didn't hear a stampede happen or anything like that, but we sure heard the panic in the cows' voices by doing that because of that roar.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it about this creature, Lee, that when you hear it, you feel it? Like it seems to not only get into your ears, but into your body as well.
Well, that's that low frequency. I believe they add so many layers into, projecting sound, right? So I believe that infrasound is layered in there a lot of the time. And if they're doing that, it's for a purpose. Maybe it's for the purpose of spooking out any other, maybe, any other creatures that are in the woods, like maybe mountain lion or bear or that sort of thing. There seems to be intent in that, right? To put that other layering of sound in there for another, for multiple purposes. Let me turn that down. Sorry about that. All right. So yeah, it seems to be something that they do. If they're calling for their clan members or something like that, they might not put that layering in there. And in other times when they know that humans are around, they might add it in for, a purpose of letting us know that, they're around and then there's something that we shouldn't encounter or something like that.
Do you think that it is when they're doing like a sound like that? I want to play this one again.
Yeah.
Okay, because this one's the clearer one. This is the singing that Chris Reinhardt just gave to us. Could that not have been like a bird?
Like a loon?
Oh, it's
Nothing like
definitely not a loon. I have loons around. It's
right.
definitely not a loon, but could that have been a bird singing?
It doesn't seem to me. One thing I think about, with a microphone, you're getting clipping in that recording, right? The volume is so high and the mic is so sensitive that it's picking up the audio, but it's also clipping it into the red, and that's why you get that distortion. For something to create that much distortion, it's going to have a huge lung capacity. And I don't think that you would find that from a bird unless the bird is like within 100 feet of the mic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And just to listen to the echo that audio inside that audio, it seems to me like there probably could be like a half mile or maybe a little bit closer to the mic than, you know what I mean? So if they're creating that much distortion, those are some big lungs.
It's scary. It literally is right out of like Children of the Corn.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Now you get moose and different things out there that'll bugle, and they've got a huge lung capacity too. And something like that could create the clipping that you're hearing within the same distance range that this animal was. So, just listening to the environmental aspect of the audio and actually how clear it is, but also just the overall echo. You can kind of get a sense of how close these things are to the mic.
Yeah. I don't know how I would react, Lee. I cannot predict the future on that one, but that is the kind of thing that scares me. It's kind of like at Flight 21. Remember where the skunk smell was?
Uh-huh.
And then we walked to the gifting tree, which isn't that far, maybe 40 feet. And we come back and that skunk smell has moved.
Yeah, it moves through.
But there was no skunk there.
No.
There was no skunk.
Well,
Right?
we need to figure out how to make a camera like smell-o-vision
Oh
to
my
track
goodness.
this stuff through the trees and whatnot.
But that is kind of, that was eerie enough because if it's a skunk, for everybody who's been around a skunk, that odor sits there and stews there and festers there. It doesn't move. It doesn't waft away. It's just there. And it stays there. You could go off on a walk for 20 minutes, come back, and that skunk smell is still there. It doesn't move. It doesn't change direction. It doesn't head deeper into the trees.
Yeah. Well, maybe in the case of Sasquatch, Bigfoot, you get where it might use its odor as a deterrent as well. Not just, using audio to scare something away, or if you're in the neighborhood of it or whatever, or its clan, maybe it can also use its odor as well on purpose.
Are you saying that Sasquatch is crapping its pants because we're there?
No, I know that's funny, but no, I'm just wondering if it can, with its glands, if it can automatically excrete something, to kind of warn things away from it. You know what I mean? Or make things more a deterrent in some ways.
And that could very well be. That could very well be. And that is something that, it's given me some ideas. It really has given me some ideas. trying peanut butter out this year. That's the goal. Try peanut
Um,
butter out this year, and if that skunk smell continues in that one barren area of Flight 21, maybe that's where I need to put the trail cam.
Yeah, I think we need to do is
on a break. Lee Strauss, when we come back, we'll get his answer on the trail cams and Donald Trump and UFOs.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
All right, buddy, we're clear. Mute you.
It'll record audio for multiple days, which would be super cool out there around Flight 21.
Yeah.
The issue, of course, is just going through that data. You can use several different programs. So you can just highlight the areas where you're capturing sound and then listen to those spots instead of trying to, listen to the whole thing. And it would take forever, but yeah.
Hey, at least tonight I don't have to go on the air in New York at midnight.
Well, there you go. Win-win.
Over 1 million listeners a night on that show.
Holy cow. How was that? Was that pretty good?
Apparently, I'm doing it every night now, Sunday through Thursday.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Resist, how are you? Yeah, WABC at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. I go on with Walter M. Sterling to talk about weird stuff.
After the show later, we can stay on the air if you, well, probably not. I've got something I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, I can make a few minutes.
Okay.
I'm not on tonight with them, so.
Right on.
Yeah.
Let me just write this note for myself.
Yeah. We don't have raccoons up here either. So we're going to try one of the peanut butter jars, see what happens. Plastic, not glass. See if they can figure it out. Got about 2.5 minutes, buddy.
All right. So how's your week been, man?
I had to go down to Kelowna for a couple of days. That's why I was off on Wednesday and Thursday. I had some daytime work training there. I drove home. I got home about 9 o'clock last night. And then I didn't get to bed until about 1.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, damn it. I wanted to go to bed so early last night. And I actually called Walter and he didn't check his voicemail. Because I said, I'm really tired. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm coming back from a 4.5 hour drive. I was so tired. And, well, at 11:59, my phone rang. Hi, this is WABC in New York. Are you ready to go on with Walter? Yes, I am.
That's funny. That's how it rolls.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? He is giving us exposure.
Yeah.
Like thousands of dollars worth of exposure for free.
There you go. It's perfect.
I mean, to get let's say on average, I do about 20 minutes a night with him on WABC.
Yeah.
Over 1 million listeners a night listening in. I can't pay for that.
Nope.
You know? And it's free. Like today, I was talking to him. He called me up today and he's like, I really appreciate you helping me with my success of this show. And I'm like, oh, dude, I said, he goes, you're a pro. And I said, Walt, I said, you do a lot for me. I said, wherever you go, I'm going. Right?
Yeah.
You've done a lot for me. So I said, if you need me there, I'm there. He said, well, I appreciate that. Terry Hall and your beautiful mustache. How are you? Fish, how are you? Here we go. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Glad to have you with us as we have extra small Lee Strauss hanging on out for the Q&A right now. So, Lee, you were going to respond to the Sasquatch talk about trail cams and everything.
Yeah, I think, when I come up there, I got some audio recorders and that'll record for multiple days. And I think you should put one at Flight 21 for sure.
We can do that. Are you coming up before Caribou Con, September 18th through 20th? Get your tickets at cariboucon.com.
Yes, I am.
But when do you plan on coming up?
I'm thinking maybe like Tuesday, Wednesday.
Cool. But you're not going to come up prior to that.
No, I can't take this job's got me going crazy. So it's eating up the time, man.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. Yeah, come up Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then because I would like to have Merle up and I'd like to have Grant Cameron up, and I want to do a major trek filming it all in in our Flight 21-esque group. And I want to go there at least 2 to 3 nights with you guys before the weekend gets started for Caribou Con. Get your tickets at cariboucon.com. Sorry, shameless plug there, my friend.
It's all good, my friend. It's all good.
I want to talk. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, please.
I was just going to say, I can't wait for that. This is going to be a great event. Everybody should think about going for sure.
I want to talk some UFOs with you.
All right.
Because there's a couple of stories that President Trump has got into regarding this. Okay. Number one, the deceased scientist and the missing scientist. Okay. He relayed a statement to the media basically saying that he is aware of the situation and wants a full investigation on why these scientists, who all seem to have ties to nuclear technology, UFO technology, weapon technology, how they're either going missing, like General McCaslin, or they are being found deceased one way or another, whether it's by them and self-inflicted or being found deceased due to mysterious circumstances where it seems like there are no suspects and there are no real clues that have been released yet that we know. President Trump basically says he wants an investigation on this. He wants to see what's happening. He doesn't believe it's as coincidental as we think it is, and he believes we'll have that answer within the next couple of weeks. What's your thoughts on this?
My thought is now I guess we're up to 11, if I'm not mistaken, 11 that have gone missing or been killed. So it seems to me, Dave, that this has been going on for a long time. And there may be quite a few more once we really start looking into this that have gone missing or been, deceased in some way, going back for quite a number of years. And that's the kind of information I'm interested in. And when did this start happening? What was going on in the world at this point in time when these scientists and whistleblowers started getting taken out? Did this start happening when the CIA came about, or what's going on? It might give us a little bit of a clue to why this is continuing, right? And who may have started this whole process. So I'm kind of interested at the impetus of this whole thing.
The one thing, my friend, that I really, really am stunned by this. The skeptics don't want to hear it. But do you really believe this is happening because of UFOs? I mean, the coincidences are a little bit too much not to even ponder that question, Lee.
Yeah, let's dive into this a little bit deeper, because I've got some thoughts, some other thoughts too. The Department of Energy. Okay, certain people have gone missing because of the certain things that they have built. And, I'm talking about like the carburetor that give a car the ability to drive 100 miles, on 1 gallon of fuel. These sorts of things throughout time have been a problem for certain individuals. Certain individuals coming up with cures to certain diseases have also gone missing. So I think we're looking at things that are along the same track here. And we have a tendency to take people out who want to fix the world's problems in some way, and this is just a continuance of that, right? And it could be rogue states like China or something like that that are in on this. I don't know exactly, but there seems to be a group of them, a group of people that are doing it. And like I said before, let's go back in history and find out when this started happening. A cluster of deaths or whatever started happening. Because I think when we look at that, we'll find out who came into power or who is in power during that time. And it may give us a little bit of information. Maybe it started around World War II. I don't know for sure, but so some president back then might have said, hey, we can't allow this tech or this stuff to fall into enemy hands. Why don't we just take that individual out? Or, and then it morphed into something like, well, these, the US, the people in the US are going to be able to, drive their cars on 1 gallon of fuel for 100 miles. We can't allow that. The oil company is going to get upset or whatever. So I think it's all tied together in some way.
Here's the thing where it comes to UFOs. All of these people, at least the most recent 5 that we know of, have all testified to Congress about UFOs or been involved in UFO type conversations at a high-end level. Now, Courtney Barkasani, who's a regular on this show, she can come on the air anytime she wants. That's kind of pull she has around here. She could be on the show every day, and I could be fired from my own job here. That's how good she is. She has a list of 63 scientists dating back decades that have died or gone missing under mysterious circumstances. And I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg on this. And I think the president is saying something because the mainstream media, for some reason, is taking this story extremely seriously and doing a good job at reporting on it. They've been dogged on it. They're not giving up on this story. And kudos to the mainstream media for actually taking this story and running with it like it deserves. Now, if we went back 4, 5, 6, 7 years on this, even 3 years ago, Lee, this story never hits the mainstream. It's not on Fox News. It's not on CNN or NBC, ABC. It's not in the New York Post or the New York Times or the Chicago Tribune or the LA Times. This story doesn't even hit there. This would have been saved for a late night discussion with Art Bell back in the day. That's it. And yet here we are.
Yeah. Well, there's just so many people talking about this subject right now, and all those people are, congressmen and pilots and high generals, and it seems to be this steamroller that continues to march along right now, and it doesn't matter what gets in the way. And so maybe the fact that you're seeing all these deaths and missing people right now is the opposite side really trying to put their foot down and saying, no, we can't let this out. But what was strange too, our vice president, came out and said that he thinks that the ETs are demons all of a sudden. And that wasn't in his, he didn't talk about that before. And all of a sudden now he said that, which makes me worry, because if that's going to be their go-to, a fact or the ability for this information might be stifled, as far as it's coming out to the public. I think that's a good way, or a possible way, for them to stop disclosure.
Well, I think it also shows with J.D. Vance saying that, it's demons. I think that also shows the great divide within this subject, from especially the religious right side compared to the other side of whatever party you're with, because we have heard, and it's been very publicly known, that it seems like half of Washington, D.C. wants disclosure, and the other half says, let's keep it under the rug. The public can't handle this. We got to be careful. This is demons. So there is that too, Lee.
So if they're saying that it's demons, are they saying it because they are privy to some information that we're not privy to? In other words, is it possible that in their mind, the things that they've heard have taken God out of the equation in some way? So that's why it's demons. Is it changing their understanding of the Bible and how they read it?
Could be. Or maybe it actually proves the Bible or other religious text, and that's what scares them, right? Maybe aliens are closer to God than what we think.
Well, that's always been my thought, and because of the things that I've experienced, and I don't know that this is a place to share that kind of information, but it always seemed to me like they could be the angels of old. that the ETs could be the angels of old that come to help humanity in times of crisis, or to help bring civilization back to the earth when great tragedy has happened.
Maybe, you know, but, you know, like I have been saying for years, you can believe me or not, you can side with me or not, or you can choose your own way and tell me I'm full of it. It's okay. I'm a big boy. I can take it. I don't think, and I'm on the, as an experiencer and somebody who does this field nightly on this show, I am not comfortable with disclosure. Not because the government is going to screw us around. I am more concerned about the 7 to 8 billion other people on this planet who are going to be absolutely terrified if all of a sudden there's ships in the sky and they start to land. How are people going to react? You and I have talked about this publicly on the air.
Mm-hmm.
How are people going to react? And I don't think anything to do with disclosure is good for humanity, with the exception of technology. Do we have reverse engineering projects that have built, anti-gravitics, that have built free energy, that we have taken this and are using this right now? Do we have the ability to time travel because of what we've done with reverse engineering? Maybe the aliens have showed us themselves. But for the humanity out there that sits there and has their 2.1 children, or I think it's down to about 1.8 children now for North America, their condo in Seattle that's worth about $2.8 million, and they both make about $54,000 a year. Still trying to figure out how people can afford that. Their vehicle payments, their vacations, okay, their phones. People live in their phones now. Can we agree on that? People living in their phones?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We all live
Okay.
in our phone. It's our everything, right? It holds
Absolutely.
the keys to life.
And look what
right
happened. Look at the panic that happened during the pandemic a few years ago. Hoarding of toilet paper, people taking their life savings and going to a grocery store to buy up all the steaks and beef and chicken wings. Okay, because apparently we were going to run out. Okay, people hoarding toilet paper and milk. The videos of watching mothers getting milk ripped out of their cart that was for their children by some aggressive antibody of a human that, shouldn't even have been there, but they were panicking that all of a sudden, because of the vid, cows are going to stop milking. Hate to tell you, but that never happened. Okay.
Right.
Cows still milk. Beef still is there. Eggs are still there. Trees are still being cut for toilet paper. Okay. And your bingo cards. I don't know.
But your scenario of all of a sudden, we're going to have all these UFOs in the sky that are going to land. I don't think that scenario is, that I don't think that's something that's going to happen like that.
Well,
Dave.
I was being hypothetical.
But yes, that would create mass panic. Of course it would. But disclosure is going to be the president coming out and saying something about, Looking at all the data, we found out that Roswell, did happen, and they are interested in us, and they've been in our skies for a very long time. I think that's what disclosure is going to be. And here's some documents and here's some videos. I think it's just going to be that. And I don't think that scares people. That kind of disclosure, I don't think that's going to cause a situation where people are going to run out and get, milk and those other things and try to deplete the stores. The sky is falling type situation. I think we're in better hands. I hope. Oh my gosh, I hope we're in better hands than that, and that there's a lot of people that are putting their input in on this rather than catastrophic disclosure.
Buddy, I get you real good, and I know what you're saying, and I want to be on Team Lee for this one. Okay, I do. And if you're right, I want an autographed 8x10 that says "I told you so." Okay, I do. I'll put it right on my studio wall, right there.
Lee told me so.
All right. I want you to be right, but I cannot get it out of my head of the way people treated people. Okay. Now, I'm not here to debate whether or not everything was real or not. That's for a different conversation at a different time, and definitely not one for this show. That's what we don't do here. But if I look at the reaction of the people, I would say there is no way in hell that we are ready for any sort of aliens or alien disclosure because of the way we treated people during that time. The only thing we didn't have is the Black Friday brawls. I'm still disappointed by you, America, the last Black Friday. You screwed us, the rest of the world, again on that.
Well, it's going to be slower than what we think, and it's obviously being crept out, little by little right now. And the government's got the website up, and everybody's talking about it. So I don't think it's going to be a shock to anybody once Trump, if he does come out and say this. I think it's going to be. I have more faith in humanity over this subject.
Well, that's because you're the power of positivity, Lee Strauss. A new SOR t-shirt going up in the store, Lee's Power of Positivity. As we say goodnight to Lee and hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X and hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. There we go. There
All right.
we go.
I know that I'm all over the map on this. My thoughts have been like, well, what if disclosure comes along with some of the things in the Bible are due to, the possibility of ETs being here for a very long time and affecting the human race in certain ways. I say that, but that kind of information, I don't think would come out right away. I think it would be this slow drip. And even if they get,
I agree
even
with
if
you on that.
even if they get, even if disclosure comes out, okay, and they do say that ETs have been here for a long time, that kind of information probably will not come directly from the government.
Maybe
You know
not.
what I mean? You'll have to have other whistleblowers coming out and saying, well, this is a possibility, or I heard this, or I've seen this document, or that sort of thing. I don't think that information's ever going to come out of the government.
No, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
But what this does, Dave, is it just opens the door, right? We're slowly opening that door, and it's not like it's gonna flood out. It's just gonna be this slow, drip that maybe becomes a small stream. And then, of course, that's going to get wider and wider and wider when people start talking about more aspects of it, just like what we're seeing right now. I mean, it's not any different than what we're already seeing. And I think that's just going to continue, even though disclosure actually happens, the capital D happens. It's still going to continue to happen as at the same rate that it is already happening.
It could.
I mean, we're talking about 80 years of knowing that, maybe even longer than that ET has been around, right? So we're going to find out, okay, they've been here. They've had some crashed craft, they're not as intelligent as we had thought because, they crashed a craft due to certain circumstances, whatever that may be. But there's many different races. We're going to end up hearing about that maybe a year down or past disclosure. We're going to be hearing about, the tall whites and this and that, and, where they come from and where we theorize they come from. Different things. It's going to just continue this slowly opening of that door. It's just going to continue to happen. It's going to be very, very exciting after the big D happens.
Well, on that note, we're going to say goodnight to everybody here as I got some work to do. And I love you all. Thank you tonight to Deborah Rooney ×2, Brandon with his first ever super chat, Area 54, Von Patrick, Noble Patrick, T-Bone, Horace Louie, and Kitty ×2. I will be back on Monday when my guest will be Ron James from MUFON. We're going to get into accidental UFO truth. It's going to be good, and we're going to check it on out. And we're glad that you are here with us to go along for the ride as well. If you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, share this show, tell your friends, and do me a favor. After the show, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the research Chris Reinhardt was doing, the Bigfoot talk, or even what Lee and I were talking about the last half hour regarding UFO disclosure. We will all see you on Monday. Have a great and safe weekend. Much love from all of us at SOR to all of you, and we'll see you soon.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.